Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome on into episode number 234 of Garage Beers Podcast, brought to you proudly here on the OBR streaming network. The OBR, your home for all the best Cleveland Browns coverage in all of the land, the oldest and largest Browns coverage site in Cleveland. Get over to the OBR.com, hit subscribe, and wherever you're watching us, whether it's YouTube or Twitch or whether you're watching us on X or Instagram or wherever you're at, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit follow, and make sure you're tagging along with us on the Garage Beers Podcast. Again, episode 234 tonight. We've got a great show planned for you. We've got the Guardians on, and so there's already a whole bunch of you here with us tonight. We love the fact that you're here with us. We want you to hang out with us all night, but make sure you got the Guardians on. We're going to talk Guardians as the game goes on. One thing Chad and I can't do because it's streaming services and all that stuff is his might be a little ahead of mine. Mine might be a little ahead. We can't fix that shit. So if you're watching the Guards with us, maybe you're a little ahead of us. Maybe you're a little behind us, but just watch with us. Have a good time. The Guards are struggling right now. They are struggling to get anything going. They continue to get runners in scoring position. They just had the bases loaded, and they just cannot find a way to scratch runs across. This is very reminiscent of those kind of middle two games of the Tiger series, which goes to show you the series isn't won and lost tonight, but the Guardians got to figure out a way to score some runs. We'll talk about all that, and we'll react to the game. So we're glad you're here with us. We're also going to talk Browns because they're making news, and I want to get with Chad and kind of talk about what he thinks about everything going on with the Browns. We got a really emotional night in Columbus. The Blue Jackets, their opening night in Columbus, the Johnny Hockey tributes, and they're playing a really good game against the defending Stanley Cup champs right now. So we'll talk about that. The Ohio State Buckeyes in Oregon, we're going to talk about that. There's just a lot going on right now. We're going to talk about all of it. I'm your host, Michael Keefe. Joining me tonight, it's just the two of us in the garage tonight over on the east side of Cleveland. Find him online at Garage Beers Chad. It's Chad Meyer. What's up, Chad?
You remember Liar Liar?
Yeah.
Stop stranded runners, assholes!
Yeah, assholes. Oh, I know.
Yeah, just if you can get a big hit. Mike, I don't know if you'll notice my hooded sweatshirt tonight.
No, I will not notice it.
It's my Bears hoodie, Mike. I am and the reason I'm doing that is I'm wearing it in protest because I am protesting the Browns from here on out until number 4 is off this team. Or he's benched, or something happens with that situation. So I'm wearing this in protest for the rest of the time Deshaun is here.
Yeah, listen, we'll get into it more. Again, it's such a colossal fuck up of a situation at this point. Remember, you're on OBR After Dark, so we talk like that here. It is. It's just a colossal.
Yes.
In Brown's world, it's Chad, I took a nap Sunday.
Yeah.
I did. Here I am on the OBR, and I love helping them hosting with things. I did the pregame show.
Right.
I took halftime rolled around of that game, Chad, and I intentionally rolled over on the couch and shut my eyes and thought, Christ, just wake me up when it's over so I can see what the final loss score is. And there it was. And that's what happened. Yeah. And I woke up, and I did wake up early. I saw them get all the way down in scoring position where stupid offensive linemen don't know how to wait until the ball snapped to move twice again. And
that's great.
Deshaun Watson's running with a piano tied to his back. Looks like the slowest dude on the field. And not one time did they throw the ball into the end zone. Not one time does Deshaun throw the ball into the end zone. Everything is short of the end zone, check down mode. And, I was like, all right, well, I'm rolling over and going and doing other stuff. It's just, Chad, if I was like you and I grew up with another team, I'd be doing the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, if in case anybody's wondering and watching, I grew up in a house divided. My the other half of my family is from the Chicago area. So I grew up like with devout Browns and Bears fans. So it just kind of attached to me. It's grown on me. It's ingrained in me. And for now, like I said, as long as 4's on this team, I think I might start to lean into my Bears fandom a little bit. I just don't talk about it because it makes no sense for me to talk about it on this show.
I mean, you'll always be a Browns fan.
I mean, yeah, I'm never not going to be a Browns fan, but I am full on. I'm not renouncing my fandom at all, but I am renouncing. I'm not renouncing. I'm protesting this team until 4 is gone in some way, shape, or form. Whether he's benched or whether he's gone, I can't do it anymore.
Well, maybe he'll be benched, and that would be cool because he ain't going to be gone.
No, I know.
People are like, well, maybe they could get rid of him. Nope, they can't. He's here next year too. Everybody just get ready for it. Unless I will never say another bad thing about Roger Goodell if he finds a way to suspend Deshaun Watson just indefinitely. I'll never say another bad thing about him. But listen, we're going to get into all that. We're going to get into the Browns again. We'll get into the Jackets. We're going to talk Guardians all night long as this game goes on. Tim Herron's in the game. It's the bottom of the 4th inning. The Yankees just, I think it was Stanton, just hit a single.
Gleyber Torres.
Oh, was it Gleyber?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was. There it was. Gleyber just hit a single, but Guards
good job by Thomas
early.
Ball off,
so far, the bullpen is coming up big, as they usually do. So we'll see how this game rolls on. But listen, we're Garage Beers for a reason. And that's because we like to have beers and talk about sports. So it's time for our first segment of the week, which is our Garage Beers of the Week segment, where we're just going to tell you what we're drinking tonight. Let us know what you're drinking. I already had an apology in the comments. Let's see if I can find it. I think it was Chris. Oh, yeah, Chris MS says, Mike, sorry, I'm drinking Pepsi. I'm hungover from all day.
That's all right. Well, now he needs the caffeine boost to stay up for the show. Good on you, Chris MS.
All day.
Good on you.
Love that. Drew in Brick City, is drinking the Busch Heavies. Although Chris is thinking about getting back on it with a Coors Banquet. So listen, love that. Gregory H in the comments is doing his normal Keystone and Jaeger. You can't go wrong with that. God, that is so much of my college experience, right?
Are you chasing it with Jaeger or are you drinking it together? I got to know.
It's so much of my college experience.
Oh, 1,000%.
Oh,
are you kidding me?
I'm getting a little nauseous thinking about it.
What was that thing? Jaeger bombs. Jaeger bombs.
Jaeger bombs. Jaeger bombs. So, Chad, what are you drinking tonight?
Well, my buddy came back from Florida a couple months ago, and this has been sitting in my fridge. He brought me beer because I brought him beer back from Delaware. But Cigar City Brewing, J Alai.
It's High Alai.
I don't know how to fucking say it. J Alai. Mango India Pale Ale with mango flavoring. It's not bad. It's okay. It's not bitter. It's not. But it's not overly bitter, as well, I should say. So it's pretty good with just a hint of mango flavoring. It's pretty good.
Highlights is rock solid brewery down in the Tampa area in Florida.
Wait, it's the brewery?
Or Cigar City Brewing.
Yeah.
Is a great brewery down in Tampa, Florida. And Highlight, their main IPA, that's like their flagship beer. You can buy it everywhere. It's great. It's really good.
The mango one or just like all of the IPAs?
I like their beer. Cigar City's got good beer.
All right.
So, also in the comments, Old Man River drinking in a little Evan Williams 1783 small batch and a Coke.
Let's go.
That means like a Coca-Cola and not.
Well, hey, if it is, that's your business, man. It's a party here, one way or the other.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
My buddy Joe Braun drinking a little peanut butter whiskey and banana liqueur. Like, what are we gonna call that? We're gonna call that the Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Wasn't that his sandwich? Was a peanut butter and banana sandwich?
Yeah, it's perfect.
We'll call that the Elvis.
Just don't die on the toilet, Joe, with it on your belly like he did.
Speaking of Coke, anyways,
yeah.
My wife went up to. She was all of last week. My wife was in Grand Rapids, and
nice.
She headed over to the Founders Brewery.
Oh,
and she brought me just like one of these mix and match 6-packs.
Okay.
So there's a couple bottles, a couple cans. I don't know what I'm going to roll it. So I'm going to do kind of what you would do with these, Chad. And I'm just going to rando pick one of these.
Nice.
And we're going to see what I come up with. Oh, my God. Well, what a one to start with. I'm going to open it and I'm going to pour it. And you're going to see. I'm going to lead things off. Shout out to my beautiful wife, Katie, with this sweet and decadent. Holy shit. Founders Breakfast Stout.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Look at this bad boy.
Listen,
that is dark.
looks good.
That is dark. It is sweet and decadent, apparently. Let me taste it. Oh, all right. That's a good one I don't know if that's a good one to start with or to end with.
How much
As
alcohol?
Gregory H says, she's thick. That is a thick lady.
What's the ABV on that bad boy?
Well, let me look. The writing on it is the smallest writing you've ever seen on any bottle of all time. Yeah, I can't tell. It's
all right.
I'm trying.
All right.
Listen, there it is. 9.
Nice. There we go.
That's what we're gonna start with. We're gonna start with a 9%er.
When you first lifted that box up, I thought, like, I got excited a little bit. I was like, does he have boxed beer, like boxed wine? Is he just gonna be drinking?
Oh,
like, that'd be sweet.
we should invent boxed beer.
Why not? Right?
Of course.
I mean, hell, It's Always Sunny did wine in a can.
Chris has asked us where we find all of our different beers. Find a good beer store by you, Chris.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I've got great ones by me. There's one in Lakewood on the west side that's awesome. It's called Simone. Yeah. I live out in Lorain County, right off of 611, right down the street from my house. There's like it used to be a drive-through. Now it's just called like the beverage stop. Tons of different beers in there.
And I've got a state store right up the street from me where the guy basically just brings in anything I want. Like if I'm looking for something, I ask him, he'll like, yeah, I'll have it for you next week. I'm like, sweet.
And I got to say, Heinen's, the grocery store, if you're in the Cleveland area, is always got a great beer selection. Always. Yep. So that's where we find them.
Hey, look, we have 2 on with nobody out again.
Catch up on the Guardians. 2 on. Kyle Manzardo just hit a single. So they've got 2 on, nobody out, and Jose Ramirez coming up to the plate. And man, Jose has had some good swings today. So here we go. Jose Ramirez up with a chance. He's the tying run.
He needs to come through in a big spot. I'm sorry, he does. It's yeah. I love him. I love. He'll forever be one of my favorite Guardians. But like, he's got to get better in the postseason.
Well, Stephen Kwan with another base hit. Kyle Manzardo with a base hit. Kyle Manzardo is quickly becoming a favorite of mine.
Yeah,
I think he's got a chance to turn into a special player. Jose Ramirez just took a ball that Brian Rocchio got called out on strikes, but apparently it's a ball now. This umpire has sucked. Can we start with that? We did our Garage Beers of the Week. We love you guys for talking beer with us for a minute, but can we start with the fact this umpire has sucked total ass tonight? Total ass. Did you see in the first inning, Bybee threw a strike that he called a ball? And then in the bottom of the first, or I'm sorry, in the top of the second inning, Garrett Cole threw a ball that was like this far below the strike zone. He called it a strike.
Yeah.
What is happening?
I don't know, but it happened in the Tigers series, last series too.
Yes.
These guys, these umpires are getting fooled by framing because a lot of these balls are inches off plates. They're not just like millimeters, right? They're not like borderline. They're literally inches away. I don't get it.
Listen, the game where the umpiring was atrocious in the Tigers game was the first Tarek Skubal start.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to like get too worked up about it because Tarek Skubal was so good in that game.
Right.
But like, goddamn, he didn't need help. And he got it. Oh, it looks like we're going to get a pitching visit. So Jose Ramirez walks on 4 straight pitches. And so now we've got our best hitter in the postseason coming up. And a guy he's given a ride to 2 balls tonight in Lane Thomas.
Josh Naylor.
Oh, Naylor is up first. Naylor's up first. Sorry,
they switched it because of the matchup.
Which is fine, but here's another guy that needs a big hit in a big moment.
He's hit the ball hard. It just hasn't come with any runners on.
Well, let's go. It's time. Yeah, it's time to get a big hit in a big moment.
I know.
So, Chad, let's catch up on the Guardians real quick as we this Naylor at bat again. The Yankees go for a pitching, just a mound visit. Since the last time we talked, how much fun did you have watching this Guardians team on Saturday?
I don't know, but probably the most fun I've had in the last 10 years of Cleveland sports. Not 10 years. That's a lie. But at least in the last 5 years, watching Cleveland sports,
dude. So we went to Cedar Point with the kids Saturday afternoon.
Yeah,
and we pull into the Cedar Point parking lot, and Carpenter has just had the double that puts the Tigers up 1-0.
right.
And damn it, with Scooble on the mound, it felt like, oh, shit.
It was insurmountable. It felt insurmountable.
This is it.
Yeah.
And let's see. Hold on. Let's see what Josh is doing here. I think you're a little ahead of me, aren't you?
I don't know. I could be.
I just saw a ball 2-0. It's 2-0.
Yep, that's my 2-0. Yeah, I just saw a ball also.
All right. So we're about at the same spot.
Pretty much.
I get into Cedar Point, and no sooner do we walk from the car to into Cedar Point. Hold on a minute. All right, sack fly. We're on the board. God, Josh just missed it, but guards are on the board. I no sooner get into Cedar Point than I look at my phone and the bases are loaded and Jose's up. And he gets hit by the pitch, and it's 1-1. And it was like, okay. I don't know that I expected anything else. All of a sudden, my phone, I just get the ESPN notification. Grand slam.
Yeah.
Lane Thomas.
Yep.
It's 5-1.
And you went ape shit.
I go in the middle of Cedar Point. I'm like, oh my God, grand slam. And all these people around me were like, oh, no way. Who hit it? Who hit it? Like, it was unbelievable. Just what a moment for this postseason.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was outside, help setting up for my daughter's birthday party, and all of a sudden, my neighbor behind me, I just hear him go, "Go, go!" And then he comes out of his back deck. He goes, "Chad, we're up 5-1." I go, "What the?" I race back up here, turn the TV on, and it was a thing of beauty, man. It was a thing of beauty. When he hit it, you didn't really know. Hell yeah. Jose with a stolen base.
Jose. So tying run is on second right now.
Yeah.
Lane Thomas is up against Garrett Cole, and it's a 1-1 count.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I came up here and watched it. Like I said, it was just a thing of beauty. Just a majestic fly ball that just felt like it hung up there forever, and you felt like our dreams were up there forever with it. And when it went over that fence, dude, I almost, not only did I go nuts, but like when I just let out a sigh of relief, because we got the one big swing we needed that we didn't get in game 2. Like, because, the Guardians had their chances in Scooble's first start, but they just couldn't get that one big hit. But man, oh man, when it counted most in game 5, Lane Thomas came through, dude. I mean, it was the best.
Dude, it was. And I got to tell you, I want to give a shout out, I think, to every broadcaster I hear call that home run. Every single call I heard of that home run was awesome. I will start with the TV guy. The TV guy, his call of that home run was amazing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I got to give credit to our buddy Jim Rosenhaus, because he had a great call of that home run. And what Jimmy did was Jimmy let the crowd do the work.
Yeah.
And it sounded like it. Jimmy's call was so loud, Jim Rosenhaus's call. And then I love Big Play always puts this up because they work with Rafael Alcalde.
Yeah.
Our one of our good buddies here, the Spanish voice of pretty much all Cleveland sports.
Right.
Did you hear his call?
I did not.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
Unbelievable. So they completed step 1. And again, right now, Lane Thomas is in a battle with Garrett Cole. It's a full count. Lane just fouled off a ball. Let's see what he does here. And it looks like Lane's going to walk. So bases loaded again with one out.
Let's go. All right.
It was check mark number 1 for me.
Yeah.
And here's what I mean. And I've said this over and over. I think I said it last week. I'm going to keep saying it. For a team that hasn't won the World Series since 1948, for a team that has the longest active drought of a World Series, the only teams, there's technically teams that have never won a World Series, obviously, but the only team with a longer drought than the Cleveland Guardians, well, there is no team with a longer drought.
Yeah.
Once the Red Sox and the Cubs won their series, and the White Sox, it's Guardians.
It is. Yep.
If you are going to be the team with the longest drought to win the World Series, you're going to have to overcome everything.
Right.
So the Yankees are going to the pen. Will Brennan's coming up. So we'll see if a lefty comes out. Do they go to John Kenzie Noel? We'll find out what the Guardians decide to do. And it looks like they're going to a righty anyway. So
I still want John Kenzie to come up. Will has been striking out on 3 pitches, and I just like.
Well, it looks like they're going to a righty, so I don't think they're going to take Will out.
Right? No, I know.
If the Guardians are going to win the World Series, just hear me out. You're going to have to beat the Cy Young. You're going to have to overcome everything. You're going to have to overcome the everything.
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to have to overcome the Cy Young, which they did. Check. Boom. Done.
Sure.
Now it's the MVP. Because Aaron Judge is going to win the MVP in the American League.
Right.
Okay? So if you're going to get out of the AL, you got to beat the MVP. Then you're probably – listen, I don't know what's going to happen in the Mets and Dodgers series, but I just feel like if the Guardians are going to win the World Series, you're going to have to beat Shohei Ohtani.
Sure.
You're going to have to beat the unicorn, maybe the greatest player in the history of baseball.
What if the Mets win?
Well, then you got to beat Francisco Lindor. So just another great story, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, God, I would love that story.
Yeah, me too.
I would love that story.
Yeah. And the number one thing that has to happen if this is gonna happen is you can't have dead bats. That is, you have to. You cannot have dead bats. They cannot afford to go to sleep with the way the starting pitching is. You cannot afford for the bats to fall asleep. I'm sorry. I mean, I know I'm good. Again, that doesn't mean I'm expecting 10 runs a game. But you've got to be able to keep it at bay. You've got to be able to keep pace a little bit, right? You've got to be able to keep it close and give yourself a chance, because this is a Guardians team that does have a lot of fight. But if they get down by a lot, all right, they don't have the pitching, at least the starting pitching, to shut things down at all.
Well, and listen, it's been the story of the postseason so far, Chad. When the Guardians score 4 or more runs, they win.
Yeah.
When they score 4 or less, they lose. Or no, when they score less than 4, not 4 or less. When they score less than 4, they lose.
Yeah. Yep.
Look where they're at right now. It's 3-1. If the Guardians can figure out a way, right now, Will Brennan up to the plate, bases loaded, and he hits what should be a double play ball, but it's only going to be 1 out. So the Guardians are getting another run. So Will Brennan grounds out, but it brings home another run. If the Guardians can find a way to score 2 more runs here, dude, that's where they need to be. Now you let the bullpen shut this thing down.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, this bullpen is unbelievable.
No, I know. Listen, I know people are worried. I know people are worried
Smith
about.
Is my favorite human.
He's my favorite. And
Tim Clase is my favorite, but
Tim Herron is back. I tell you what, I don't care. People are worried about their usage. I don't care. If we win a World Series this year, and our entire bullpen has to get Tommy John after this year and is out all next year, I don't care. I do not care. Okay, because you know what? It'll be worth it. It will be completely worth it. Use them to all hell.
Cade, Emmanuel, Herron.
We'll see you next year, pal. We'll see you 2026.
Hell yeah. Take 2025 off. We don't even give a shit.
Yeah. Right?
They've been unbelievable. And it's back tonight. Look what Cade Smith did. They brought him in with the bases loaded. They walked Juan Soto to piss off Aaron Judge. And then they brought in Cade Smith and they were like, hey, bases loaded. We need you to get out of this. And what did he do? Got Aaron Judge. I mean, listen, it was a sac fly. That was the 3rd run. But he got out of the rest of that inning. He limited them.
Like far and away, the guy's a machine. Cade Smith is a machine.
Oh, shit. Well, this is not the situation the Guardians want to find themselves in, because Andres Jimenez has walked, and that brings to the plate our boy Austin Hedges. Shit. So 2 outs, bases loaded. We need a miracle here. We need a miracle. Everybody, come on. Start working on the miracles.
Hey, maybe he can walk. Maybe he can walk too. He's going to strike out in 3 pitches, isn't he? That's cool.
Well, we'll find out.
Oh boy.
But Austin Hedges at the plate, and it's immediately 0-2.
Was he? So you are ahead of me.
I'm a little bit ahead of you now. I don't know why it jumped, but I'll try to slow down a little bit. But just an immediate 2 pitches from Holmes to Hedges, and right over the plate. And
did he foul one off? That's cool.
Dude, if Austin Hedges gets like a go-ahead hit right here, please.
What? Let's chug a beer.
Let's chug a beer if cool happen.
If Hedges gets cut like a go-ahead hit here, let's chug a beer.
So should we make that deal?
Yeah.
All right. On the show, if Austin Hedges right now, and you guys got to join us if you're in the comments.
Right.
If Austin Hedges gets a hit here, we are all chugging a beer together. We're doing a collective beer chug. Look at Gregory's in. Come on, Hedgie. Just find a gap.
Oh my God.
Did you see the foul ball?
No, but I saw the pitch before the foul ball.
Oh. I love the first pitch, the first ball. So it's 1-2 on Hedgie.
Yeah.
He couldn't have thrown a ball further out of the zone. Just
wait for it.
Joe Braun says he'll do a shot if Hedgie gets a hit here.
Let's go. Come
on, we got to keep talking. We're on a show here, Joe.
Yeah, I know.
But this is a big moment. Again, bases loaded, 2 outs. Hedges at the plate. 1-2 the count. I think Hedgie might have took his time out here because things have slowed down dramatically. Oh no, we've got looks like we might have an injury. So again, here's where we're at. If Austin Hedges gets a base knock here, specifically, I mean, it would put the Guardians ahead. We are all chugging a beer. I don't think I'm going to chug this breakfast stout because
that's probably not a good idea. No, maybe go grab a Miller Lite or something.
I got to make it to the end of this show. I got to make it to the end. I have to say, Chad, while we're waiting for this to continue, when it comes to this Major League Baseball postseason, it's been great. That Padres Dodgers series was great. Lots of bad blood.
Dude, yeah, all the animosity between those two teams. How about that? Yes. How about Jerks and Profar and that home run? That was awesome.
I also love
because I hate Dodger fans so much.
I also don't understand. Well, we're not chugging a beer. I don't understand. So did you see the Ken Rosenthal article that he wrote that was like he was making fun of all the Padres players?
No.
Clown and all that stuff. I love that the Padres were like, don't bring your little bow tie ass into our dugout and ask for an interview.
Yeah, no. Like, what the fuck do you think you're doing?
I love that they told him no. Like, it was Padres against the world. Dodgers wound up crushing them. But, and there's that easy strikeout. And there it is. All right. So listen, hey, no reason to be negative.
Okay. Guardians, got it within 2 or got it within 1.
It's a 1-run game. Our bullpen versus their bullpen. I will take our bullpen all day. So let's go. Let's go.
Right.
That's a good inning for the Guards. The Mets series. I don't know. That one felt like the Mets were just the hottest team in baseball against the Braves, and they just dominated them.
Yes.
Was it the Braves? No, who'd the Mets play?
What
am I missing?
Who did they play? They played the Brewers.
No.
Played the Brewers in the wild card.
Phillies.
Yeah,
the Phillies. Oh, I'm so stupid.
That's it.
But that should have had bad blood, but the Mets just kind of stormed through the Phillies like it was nothing.
Yep.
And so I like where we're at, right? I love that you've got the 3 top payroll teams in baseball and then the Guardians. I think that's great. I think it's a great story.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of storylines. Listen, if I'm going to be objective for a minute, because I want the Guardians in the World Series, obviously, but you're either going to get a Yankees-Dodgers World Series, which I know that makes everybody roll their eyes. Anybody in the Midwest, we're all going to roll our eyes at that, but shit, that's iconic. You're going to get a Yankees-Mets World Series, which Subway Series, that's cool as hell. you're going to get a Mets Guardians World Series, and we're talking about the Francisco Lindor trade and all that stuff the whole way through. So that's cool as hell. Or you're going to get Guardians and Dodgers, which not a lot of good storylines there per se, outside of the fact that it's just, again, another David and Goliath kind of thing. So the storylines are great for this baseball postseason.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, either way, it kind of feels like a David and Goliath thing with being the top 3 payrolls, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and not to mention, coupled with the fact that this was a Guardians team that we had no idea what to expect from this year. We didn't think they would be here. We didn't. I mean, nobody thought they would be here, right?
No.
And the fact that the fact that nobody's giving them a chance is the kind of Cleveland team that I love, right?
Listen, Chad, we didn't give him a chance. We had Steve Phillips on before the season. I know we just had him on recently again, but we had him on before the season, and he goes, "What would you guys set the Guardians win total over under at?" And I think he said like 78.5.
Right.
And I think we all said under.
Yeah. Well, I said it was a push. I said that felt right to me.
So, yeah, spectacular.
Right.
A spectacular season. And now the Guardians were in the bottom of the 5th inning. Aaron Judge is up. Eli Morgan's pitching, who, by the way, Eli Morgan's had a great season this year.
Yeah, he sure has.
And he was great the other night in that Game 5 against the Tigers when they needed him.
You know what? I'll tell you what. With the Tigers and the Royals in the postseason now, I mean, I know this is looking way too far ahead, but but looking at next season, I mean, if this is anything, it's got to be somewhat of a wake up call to the Guardians, and I know they will. I know they're going to do the best they can.
Yeah,
but they've got to find they've got to go out and find an ace this offseason at somehow, some way, shape, or form. And I think they have to, they really got to try to make a push and do what they can. Maybe extend Naylor, right? Extend somebody. They can't. Resting on your laurels, I know, is a thing that they're used to, but with this division on the rise now, I don't think resting on your laurels is going to cut it.
I think they actually can rest on their laurels on their lineup.
Yeah,
because I think it's fair to say Kyle Manzardo, you can kind of count on him. John Kenzie Noel, count on that guy growing. You still got Chase DeLauder that's coming.
Yeah.
So I think offensively, I don't think it's I don't know that they need to go out and sign like a big bopper bat or anything like. Would I be mad? Would I be mad if they went out and decided we're going to spend $50 million this offseason? No. But you got to get starting pitching.
Yeah, right.
The good news is in a typical offseason, you can usually find one or two really good starting pitchers for not like a ton of money.
No, I know. For like a 1 year, $10 million type of thing.
And that'll be the type of player they get. They're not going to go out. Whoever the top name is in free agency on the pitching situation is not going to be the person they go after. Wow, that was a very quick 1-2-3 inning for Eli Morgan, by the way.
Yes.
That is spectacular.
Yeah.
So we're going to the 6th inning, Guardians down 2. But you get a couple guys that can give you a lot of good innings, not like Carlos Carrasco innings where it's not good innings.
No.
Good innings.
No, we need length from our starters.
This team's right there.
Yeah. We need starters who can give us length. That's like the main goal of this offseason.
And listen, has anybody done more for his future stock in Cleveland than Brian Rocchio has done this offseason?
No, not at all.
Is it fair to say he's been Lane Thomas, I think, has been their best player?
But he's been the second best. I think it's fair to agree that he's the second best.
Position player?
Yeah.
I don't want to put in pitchers.
Well, yeah, position player.
But sure. Brian Rocchio's been number 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Hey, he's been outside of Lane. He's been the second guy that's gotten big hits for this team.
Hey, listen, I'm totally in for let's roll into next year with him as your shortstop.
Sure.
Because he's showing he can do it at this time.
Sure.
I don't know that he's ever going to be outrageously good. But I think Brian Rocchio is a guy. I'm cool with him. All of a sudden, I'm looking around this lineup going, all right, Quanon left. Cool. You still got Lane Thomas. He can play center for you.
Yeah.
You can
still got him for another 2 years.
Yeah. You can still platoon. You can still have Brennan out there. You can get by with those guys.
Right.
I would like to see them get Tyler Freeman in the infield a little bit more as your like utility guy.
Right.
I would have liked to see him on the playoff roster, I think. But I like this lineup. You just go get some starters and let's roll.
Right. Right.
So
no, yeah. I mean, and Oh yeah, and sure, I get it. I mean, again, I think we did talk about it in the middle of the season because John Kenzie Noel has the body type, has the swing to become that next great power hitter in this lineup. But you got guys also down there who are going to compete for some spots as well. I mean, Jonathan Rodriguez, Juan Brito. Who'd you say was coming? Chase DeLauder, like you said, is coming as well. So yeah, there's some hitting in the pipeline for sure. But yeah, there's going to be some starting pitchers that they'll be smart about, that they'll be out there that'll be fine, or who are mid to low 3 ERA guys that are just solid guys that can give you some innings.
Yes, and you're going to go into next year again. It's going to be real interesting to see what happens with Shane Bieber. Because I think I would put everything on him being back in Cleveland next year at this point.
Sure.
Because I don't think he's that kind of a deal anymore after the injury history.
Yeah, someone asked me about that, and I said, you know what? Like I wouldn't. It wouldn't shock me to see if he. We talked about that 1 year, $10 million deal or something. I wouldn't be surprised if he signs a 1 year prove it deal that he's healthy. Here, and then then he can go out and get his big contract.
I think Bieber's back. I'm not really going to rely on Tristan McKenzie.
No.
But then you got these other guys. You got Bibee. You got, you've got enough starters. Plus, you probably are going to bring back, probably not Alex Cobb. He's probably just this year and done. But I would imagine Olson's back.
You mean Matthew Boyd?
God, I always call him Olson. I don't know why I do that. Matthew Boyd, yes. I would imagine Boyd's back. Like, I just think they're really well set up. I just think you sold a ton of tickets this year. You had a playoff run this year. You're going to make a lot more money this year than you've made. You have this secondary owner that's come in that should give you a little influx of money. Like, I think they'll spend a little money this year.
Sure. Well, I mean, if there's one thing they're always good at, I mean, it's when they see a contention window and then they go after it. So, yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun to see the moves that they make this offseason.
Remember,
again, it won't be anything spectacular because don't expect anything like that. But it's going to be fun to see the little additions that they do make.
But, hey, remember, they did do something spectacular in 2017. After that 2016 season, remember, they went out and signed Edwin Encarnacion. Sure. That was like the big free agent signing of the offseason anywhere that year.
Sure. And he earned his money. That's for sure. He came as advertised.
He sure did. And that was a really good 2017 team that they just blew it to the Yankees. But yeah, listen, I'm excited about this team. We're going to keep talking about him as it goes on. Brian Rocchio just struck out. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen very often all of a sudden, but we got Stephen Kwan up.
Yeah. Man.
Hill is pitching right now. It's a tough ass for a lefty. We'll see if the bats. We need one more. We need one more inning. Get a couple more runs. Let this bullpen shut down the Yankees and get out of there with a Game 2 win. So we'll keep talking about it as the game goes on. But Chad, let's move off of it for a minute.
Sure.
And we'll just keep checking in as the game goes on. And if anything big happens, I will scream and poop my pants right on screen.
Nice.
Let's go over to the Browns for a minute.
Ugh, gross.
So let's talk about what happened. And I if you guys have been with me all night, which a lot of you have on the Doghouse, I want to get to my tweet that I put out today because a lot of people are interacting with that. My phone is dying rapidly because of it. So I'm going to get your thoughts on it, Chad. But the Browns made a move today, and I think it signifies something, but I don't think it signifies the doom and gloom that so many people think it does.
Sure.
But the Cleveland Browns today trade Amari Cooper to the Buffalo Bills. In return for Amari Cooper, they get a third-round draft pick, and then they get a pick swap. Or I think they did the pick swap. I think they got a 7th for a 6th. But Amari Cooper off to Buffalo. And when you saw it, Chad, I want to hear what you have to say first because a lot of people have heard my opinion on it.
Okay.
when you saw the trade first, just kind of like give me your initial. What'd you think?
I wasn't shocked by it. I mean, when they went 1-4, 1-5, I started going, okay, what kind of things can we do to start collecting assets, to start building for next year? Because I mean, really, this is a lost season. I mean, I don't even have confidence that when we get guys back healthy, that Four is going to do it, that Deshaun's going to do anything of note. So I started thinking, and then I mean, he was a perfect candidate for this. Right. I mean, he was in the last year of his contract. He's an aging wide receiver, still has a lot of ability, still can be an asset to another team, but this organization was not going to pay him. They were not going to pay him the money he wants. They were not going to give him the long-term contract that he wants. And then he didn't want to be here anyway. Otherwise, he wouldn't have haggled over $5 million extra dollars of money. So I don't think he would have done that. And then he just appeared jaded, like not only in the locker room, not only in his press conferences, but on the field too. Right. He was in his own head, and it was just, everything about him, the aura around him was just off. It was bad. Everything about it was bad this year. So do I hate to see him go? Yeah. He did a lot of great things for his time here in Cleveland.
Yes.
A lot of great things, but everything about this year from the offseason up until now screamed that the Browns had to move on. And they got a nice getting a third-round pick for him at this age, and at his cap hit. I think it's a great deal. I do. I think it's a great deal.
I did get asked, and there's probably going to be one or two more of these. Joe Braun asked, "What's the new beer?" This is it's the Founder's Blonde Roast.
Ooh.
It is a blonde ale, a golden ale brewed with coffee, and it's delightful.
I was going to say, you're just getting a coffee in there.
This is so good. This is so good. I'm not really usually a big coffee beer guy, but whoa.
You're drunk? You're drunk.
Delightful.
You're drunk?
No, it's my second beer of the whole day. I agreed with you. And I have to tell you, Chad, there was that little moment of, as we go to the bottom of the sixth inning with the Guardians, there's a little moment of like, sad to see Amari go because of what he has done here.
Sure.
I mean, I think it's fair to say he's the best wide receiver that's played for the Browns since they've been back. I mean, he's certainly up there with like Josh Gordon in his heyday years.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know that you're going to put, you can sit here and say Jarvis Landry meant a lot to the team or whatever, but like Amari, I think is the best wide receiver that's played here since they came back.
Okay.
There's certainly a bit of it's where it's like, man, I wish he could have stayed. But at the same time, I saw it. I thought about it for a minute and I went, I love it. Here's why. I don't think they're giving up on anything. You could say maybe they're waving the white flag on this year. Okay. Well, listen, you're 1-5. Of course you're waving the fucking white flag. You suck ass.
Yeah. You suck
Your
whole
team
butt.
Stinks.
Whole butt.
So, okay. I don't think anybody thinks they're going to win the next 10 games to make the playoffs. Because that's basically what they'd have to do is go on a 10-game winning streak to make the postseason.
Right.
That's not going to happen. You got the worst quarterback in football. It's not going to happen.
Right.
But I also don't think this signifies some big teardown coming. I don't think this signifies like that they're giving up on even next year. And I know, listen, as long as Deshaun Watson is the quarterback of this team, I'm not going to be real excited about it. But I don't think the trade of Amari Cooper signifies some big like, well, we're throwing in the white towel in the next 4 or 5 years, and we're just going to rebuild this thing. I don't think it's what it means. You hit it on the head, Chad. Amari wasn't going to be back here next year.
Yeah.
We knew he wasn't going to be back here next year.
Right.
Unless they had some kind of miracle year, he wasn't coming back next year.
Right.
So you just traded a dude. In my opinion, I think it's an amazing trade.
Yeah.
You just traded a dude for a third-round pick who came in and gave you two amazing years and then whatever he did this year. And you traded a fifth-round pick for him. So here's this guy that's already kind of viewed as an older wide receiver that you had here for 2 years, and you got a better return than what you paid out for him. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish him nothing but success. Everybody's like, he's going to go to Buffalo and tear it up. I hope he does.
Right.
I'll be thrilled for him.
Sure.
I hope he does tear it up in Buffalo.
Sure.
I'm not mad about that.
But what a trade for the Bills, by the way. They needed a number one guy desperately.
I think it's a great trade for the Bills. I think it's a great trade for the Browns.
Yeah.
I'm not mad about this at all. Again, I do not think this signifies the Browns saying, we're going to just go on a fire sale. I do think they are going to fire sale this same kind of player.
Sure.
So again, let's think of some names, Chad. Immediately off the top of my head, I'm thinking Zadarius Smith, probably getting traded.
Greg Newsome?
Yeah, because I don't think they're going to extend him.
Rodney McLeod?
Well, I don't know if you're going to get anything for Rodney McLeod, but listen, I know he's leading the Browns in touchdowns, but
sure. Well,
and I got nothing to say about Rodney McLeod.
You can't let our touchdown leader go. You just can't.
I don't know. Is there some team that wants Maurice Hurst? Is there some team? I think those are going to be the kind of players that are on kind of short-term deals.
Come on.
I know. They just gave up a double to Jazz Chisholm. It's fine. No big deal.
Looked like that ball carried.
It's going to be these kind of players. Again, I keep seeing people saying like they're going to go fire sale and trade Myles Garrett. I got to tell you something. I got to say this really loud for all of you. The Cleveland Browns are not trading Myles Garrett. What are you talking about? That if the Detroit Lions called them today and said, we'll give you 2 first-round picks for Myles Garrett, you know what the Browns are going to do? Hang up the phone. Absolutely. 100%. You think they're going to take 2 late first-round picks for Myles Garrett? No, they're not going to.
Here's the thing.
They're not trading JOK and Myles Garrett and this kind of young core group of guys.
But Myles isn't young.
What?
Myles isn't young.
Myles is young enough.
He's going to be 30.
Yeah, he's got a couple years left ahead of him.
Okay, but I mean, if you're Myles Garrett, and don't get me wrong, I don't want to trade him either. But put yourself in Myles Garrett's shoes for a second. You look at the way 4 is playing. And if we realistically have to deal with him for the next 2 years, do you really want to stay if you're Myles?
Yeah.
Don't you want to go get a ring?
I gotta say that people keep saying that, but no, it feels like nobody listens to what Myles says. Over and over again. He has said it over and over again that winning in Cleveland means more to him than anything.
I mean, and again, that's great. If he's our next Joe Thomas and he wants to stay and he doesn't want to go get a ring, great. I love him that much more for it.
He just has never indicated anything like that.
Sure. Yeah, I love him that much more for it. But would it shock you though if at any point they try to do right by him and say you deserve a chance to go get a championship?
No, but you're not going to just do it.
Well, sure. Yeah, I know you're not just going to do it. But
no, listen,
again, as he's getting older, though, I don't know, the scenario becomes more real in my mind.
Yeah, you say, and you're not wrong in that he is getting older, but Myles Garrett is also kind of like the LeBron James of pass rushers. He is the most physically gifted freak athlete on the planet. And so while he is still the number 1 pass rusher in football, the number 1 defensive end in football, you just stay. Again, JOK, staying. I'd be shocked if they got rid of Grant Delpit. I think he is a cornerstone piece of this defense.
Sure.
He is staying. Denzel Ward, I think he's staying, but I think it's because he is one of the elite corners in football, but also I think a lot of teams would be real scared off by his concussion issues.
Sure.
Greg Newsome probably goes. I think they keep MJM. Again, I don't want to make it like a one-on-one thing, but I think the guys you're going to see them get rid of this year, which they should do, are those guys that you're probably going to be able to get kind of mid-round draft picks for that are depth/role player pieces. You might even see it with Dalvin Tomlinson.
Sure.
That aren't guys that are like cornerstone pieces of your team. I just don't think they're going to do that.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I can see both scenarios happening. I honestly do.
How about the Guardians? Just picked up Jack Chisholm?
God, yeah.
Well, they're probably going to review it, but we'll see. Sorry. Anyways, here on the show, we're talking Browns, but
yeah, no.
The Yankees have runners on first and second with nobody out, and the Guardians just picked off Jazz Chisholm at second base, so 1 out, and hopefully this stands as an out. I don't know if it will.
What is that angle supposed to do? Oh,
I know.
What? Oh, he might have dodged it.
No, I think
wait.
He definitely tagged him. No, he's so out.
Wait.
All right.
Wait.
So I think they are challenging it, but he's super out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's real out.
Yeah, he's super out.
And so big play there as Sobrowski just picked off Jazz Chisholm at second base, and we'll await the review result, but he's extraordinarily out.
Yeah.
Oh my God. He's so out. Okay. I'm not worried about this. So anyways, Chad, again, that move gets made. I do think that's fair to say there's going to be more moves that get made like this. I'm not panicked about this. People are like, they're quitting on the season. They're 1-5. Of course they are. They're not going anywhere. And listen, here's the other thing. I hate Deshaun Watson. But am I going to sit here and tell you that I think that it's a definitive answer that they're going to be shit next year? No. You go out and rebuild this offensive line. And because the offensive line's been a problem.
Sure.
You go out and rebuild this offensive line a little bit. You bring in some rejuvenated talent. I still think Deshaun Watson. Yeah, all right, cool. The review failed. Jazz Chisholm is picked off. Deshaun Watson still sucks. I'm not gonna give him any benefit of the doubt anymore. He's been terrible. But I don't think that this means they're quitting on next year or the year after. I keep getting all these people coming after me on Twitter saying, now they're done. The next 2 or 3 years are a wash. This is a 4 or 5 year rebuild. And I just don't see it. I don't see it.
As long as 4 is on this team, I will not trust. Unless he shows me something throughout the rest of the year, I will not trust in the years going forward that it's yes, you can rebuild this offensive line all you want. I do not trust the most important position on a football team. I just don't. It has nothing to do with, you could put it feels like you could put all the talent around him with the way he's playing right now. It feels like you could put all the talent around him that you want, and he's just going to fail.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I do not trust it.
I agree. And I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about organizationally. I don't think they're going to dump this thing into a full-on rebuild. I just don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think they will too, because again, you look at the Miles factor, you look at Nick Chubb, the Nick Chubb factor. They're not getting any younger. I mean, you look at that. I think they're going to they could definitely try to do this rebuild, and they're probably going to, because they don't want to waste a talented roster.
It's like a retool. It's a retool. It's not a rebuild.
Sure.
Here's the other thing. Here's the other thing that drives me crazy, Chad. Maybe you disagree with me on this. People kept coming at me on Twitter because I put out a list of players that I'm like, well, shit, now that you've traded Amari, here's other guys that can go if you want them to. Shit. Well, the Yankees just took a 4-2 lead on an Anthony Rizzo. Fucking Anthony. Of course we got to run into Anthony Rizzo. Anthony Rizzo double, and then it was misplayed badly in right field by Will Brennan. And it's 4-2 Yankees. I think contention windows are things that are made up by bad teams to get fans off of their backs when they have to tear it down. I think there's a reason you never hear good franchises and organizations talking about contention windows.
Okay.
You never hear about good classic organizations talking about, well, our window's closed and we got to open up another window and this window's closed and now we got to open up another window. I think windows being closed, I think contention windows are a complete farce. A complete farce. The Browns don't have a contention window. It's not like it closes and then you have to wait for it to come back open. You need to build your team year in and year out to contend. And the great organizations do that. And they don't sit there and wait for windows to open and close. I keep getting people coming to me saying the Browns window is closed. There's no such fucking thing as a window. Now, you might say the Browns are not real contenders with Deshaun Watson at quarterback. That's fine. I'm not going to argue with that. It's not a window opening and closing. It's not like you have to wait for a period of time to be good or be bad or whatever. That's not how shit works. A contention window is fake. It's made up. It is made up. If your team operates like that, you got a shitty team. And maybe the Browns are a shitty team. But your job is to make sure, if you're Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski and crew, your job is to make sure that when this team and these awesome players are ready to move on, you've got the next group that are ready to go behind them. That's what great teams do. And that's what they need to do.
I was going to disagree with you until you said that, because until you said that, it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But yes, if you are a great team, yes, you have the depth, you have the young players mixed with these good guys, to be able to. I mean, where I don't know, it's the old adage, the next man up. To where when Myles Garrett does move on, when Nick Chubb eventually does move on, that you have the next man waiting in line to do that. So yeah. So okay. So now I am in agreement with you. Before that, you didn't have me, but you got me now, Mike.
Again, I think it's a loser mentality. I think it's
sure.
Contention windows are all about loser mentalities.
Sure.
And I don't buy it. Be good enough so that when your good players move on, your next good players step in.
Sure.
That's why there are teams that are just always consistently good. Look at these teams that just are and we're not even talking about, I'm not even talking about like the Super Bowl level teams. But I don't often hear the Seattle Seahawks talking about contention windows. And I don't even think they're that great of a team, but man, it's a great run organization.
Yeah, sure is.
I don't often hear the LA Rams talking about contention windows. And they're not the greatest team, although they're really good this year. But
the Rams haven't had a first-round pick for what, 7-8 years?
Right.
And they won a Super Bowl off of it.
Right. I don't want to hear the shit. I don't want to hear that they're going to have, this window is closed. This window's closed. You got to wait 4 or 5 years for them. No, you don't. That's bullshit. They need to do what's right for the team. And God, here's what I will tell you. Here's a report came out today, Chad, and it's going to get me to be a praying man again. And I also don't like this. Drew, I love you, buddy. I love you, Drew, in Brick City. But he says you can't do anything with Barry here. He can't draft. Barry's had some really good draft picks and some really bad draft picks. But you know what Barry hasn't had lately? First-round draft picks. We're sitting here judging Andrew Barry on his draft picks when he's having to wait until the third round to draft players. Again, we got to see what they got in Mike Hall, although I really like that pick in the second round. We're talking about third-round players. These are at best, third-round draft picks, at best, are crapshoots. At best. I don't know why. I think it's because, Chad, we haven't had first-round picks, and we haven't really had second-round picks for the most part, that people are acting like third-round picks are first-round picks. They're not.
Right.
Cedric Tillman is a crapshoot. Just like, what's-his-face? Anthony, what's-his-face? Was a crapshoot. Anthony Schwartz was a crapshoot. He's a third-round pick. We're sitting there judging Andrew Barry on his draft picks when shit, what was his last first round pick? Greg Newsome?
Yes, I think so.
And that, listen, you might not even like Greg Newsome, but he's a pretty darn good player for being a late first round draft pick. He's been pretty good.
Yeah, he's been good. He hasn't been great, but he's been good.
To act like he can't draft, we're talking about, oh, but he missed this guy in the 5th round. Well, guess who else misses guys in the 5th round? Fucking everybody.
I can't
Everybody.
get too deep into draft picks because it
They
all
haven't
of
had
it.
first round picks.
I mean, really all of it is a crapshoot, right? How many first round picks have you seen over the years that have not translated to the NFL, that have not panned out in the NFL?
Listen,
How many? Huh? I mean,
if
how
you're-
many seconds? You're lucky. I think I saw a stat one time. If you hit on 60% of your draft picks, you are a good GM.
You're a great GM.
You're a great GM. Sure. And it's just I can't get all up in arms about draft picks because you don't know how they're going to do. You just don't until you actually see them on the field. You just don't. People think they do because they watch YouTube highlights or they watch a guy in college, but it's you don't know. You just don't know until they get on the field.
I don't know what just happened. I don't know what just happened in this Guardians game, but Anthony Rizzo it was like a ball that was in the dirt, and Anthony Rizzo just went halfway to third base and just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
So the Guardians basically pick off Anthony Rizzo. The Yankees score a run, 4-2, end of the 6th. We're going into the 7th. Guardians need some runs. Listen, Chad. If you're busting out on first round picks, then we got to have a conversation. If you're miserably failing on first round draft picks, we got to have a conversation. Andrew Berry hasn't miserably failed on first round draft picks. Greg Newsome is a productive player. You might not love him, but he's been a productive player. Talk to me about the number of second round picks he's had. It's not much. It's Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah was his second round draft pick. That's a damn good draft pick.
Sure.
And now he didn't have one last year. And now we've got Mike Hall as his second round pick. We'll see how that pans out. Okay. I just don't. Anybody that says he is a bad draft, I don't get it.
But how much? Well, okay, but
every draft pick we're talking about is a late round draft pick. Who hits on all of those?
I mean, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a second, right? Because it's my beef when GMs sign free agents too, right?
Yes.
After all a GM has to go off of, right? All a scouting department has to go off of, right? Is what they see at not the NFL level, right? It's what they see in college. It's what they see in the Canadian football, wherever the hell they're scouting these people from, right? It's the same thing with free agents. All they're looking at is the tape that they have on them in the NFL, right? And what they see is good enough to where they either want to draft them or they want to sign them. After that, it's their hands off. Right. So whether that guy pans out, to me, whether that guy pans out for our team, for the Browns, I don't know. It's not, to me, it's partially not Andrew Berry's fault. Sure, like maybe they missed something that they shouldn't have signed that player or they shouldn't have drafted that player. But if that guy doesn't perform, I don't know, how can you totally blame Andrew Berry or scouts or anything like that when what they saw on tape was like, yeah, let's get this guy.
It's the same thing that comes up all the time. They're like, well, Siaki Ika, yeah, he was a third round draft pick. Every team passed on him for 2 rounds, and then Andrew Berry went and got him. But then people will be like, well, look at this player they could have picked instead, who is also another player that every team passed on for 2 rounds, and then another team took him. When we're playing this game with mid to late round draft picks, you're not going to get me to buy in. I think Andrew Berry has been fine at drafting. I think he's been fine. I think, I see you guys in the comments saying he's not great at trades or free agencies. I don't know. A 5th round draft pick for Amari Cooper has been good. I think his free agent signings have been just fine.
How much for Jerry Jeudy? Wasn't Jerry Jeudy a 6th round pick or something?
I think you're picking up these depth players. Like Zadarius Smith, I think is a good free agent signing. I love the Jordan Hicks signing. He just isn't healthy. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. I think Andrew Berry has done just fine putting a team together. If you want to give Andrew Berry shit, it's that he was the GM when they made the move for Deshaun Watson.
And and honestly, that's another thing I wanted to touch on here, Mike. It sucks that I think we're going to have to lose Stefanski over this.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, someone else is pulling the strings on this thing because, and I'm convinced of that, and I'll tell you why. Because there is absolutely no way. Kevin has the propensity to do some bad things, right? But in general, I think he's a smart guy, and I think he's a good coach. There is no fucking way that he can look at this team and decide that it makes any football sense, that it makes sense to keep Deshaun at quarterback and not change something. There's no way anybody.
Dude, you can see it in his press conferences. It kills him every time he has to say it.
Yeah. There's no way you can look at this team. He can look at this team. Any head coach would look at this team and be like, Deshaun's our quarterback. No.
Listen, all you got to do is go watch the film study put out by our very own Quincy Carrier or Jake Burns, a former OBR, does his amazing film room stuff. All you got to do is go watch the tapes.
Yeah.
They don't think he's good. He's missing open shit all day, every day.
Right.
He's terrible.
Right.
But I also don't know that there's nowhere for them to go, Chad.
I know. But the thing is,
and it's Stefanski and it's Berry and it's Haslam and it's DePodesta and there's nowhere for them to go. They went this route, and I got to tell you this. One thing that I do think is fair to say, I think when they made this move, they went, we're going to have to fucking get kicked in the teeth about the Deshaun Watson off the field stuff. And we're going to have to take that beating that we're going to get. And we're going to have to get through that. And they knew that. There is no way in hell anybody thought that Deshaun Watson would be the worst quarterback in football.
Absolutely.
There's no way. We all sat here and talked about Deshaun Watson going, this guy sucks. He is an asshole of a human being. We hate him. But like at worst, he's going to be like a mid-tier NFL quarterback.
Yeah, no, he
isn't even close to it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like, again, and I still attest to this day, based on the knowledge of what we had about Deshaun Watson on the football field, you still make that trade 100 times out of 100.
Back then, yes.
Yeah, but it's turned out to be the biggest swing, the most disastrous swing and a miss that an NFL team has ever made.
Look at Chris says it in the comments. How many teams wanted him? Something like 12? Yes.
Yeah.
4 teams that made real serious offers at him.
Yeah.
Atlanta desperately wanted him. Carolina desperately wanted him.
Yeah. And again, that actually kind of goes back to my point of when all you have to look at when you're a GM is what this guy has done on the field. And what Deshaun Watson did on the field up until that point was elite.
Yes.
But this has turned out to be the biggest swing and a miss that you've ever made. And now you can't go back on it, right? Now they're trying to prove a point, and now you're doubling down on the stupid ass move that you made, and you don't want to make a change to try to win football games. I'm sorry. Yeah. I know people think that with the injuries and the offensive line is being so terrible, yada yada yada. Don't go to Jameis. Jameis ain't going to be any better. But you know what? He's not going to be any worse. You got to try something if you're trying to win football games this year. If you're trying to tank, fine, keep Deshaun in. But,
well, I wonder, and I also wonder if there isn't a method of, we're already 1-5. We want to win. We'd love to win the next 10 games and make the playoffs. But we would also love it if Deshaun Watson gave us a reason to just not make him the starter next year. He's not going to be on the team. Like people need to understand that the cap hit is too crazy for him to be off the team. It's just not going to happen.
You know what's going to piss me off is if this is like, remember that Mangini year when they were like 1-8 and then they won like 4 of the last 5 games.
Yes.
It's gonna piss me off if that
It was a
happens.
very fun year, though.
It was, it was a fun year.
I distinctly remember the Jets game that year. I was at the Jets game. They
Yeah.
lost that game, but remember that was when the Jets were great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they took them to overtime.
Right.
And
Right.
Santonio Holmes scored a touchdown in overtime. Oh, Lane Thomas just missed a home run. So it looks like Lane Thomas is on first base, top of the 7th, 2 outs. Anyways, I don't know. I think the Browns are in a good spot. I like the move with Amari Cooper. Again, I wish him nothing but success. I would have loved for him to stick around and be successful in Cleveland, but it wasn't working out here. I love that they went and got a 3rd-round pick for him. I hope that they make a very similar trade with probably 5 or 6 other players that are on this team that are not long-term solutions for this team. But I also don't think it means we're tearing everything down and we're rebuilding everything. I just don't I don't think it's happening. So anyways, the Browns are playing the Bengals this week. To be honest with you, who the hell knows what's going to happen in that game? Because
you know what, honestly, you know what I think of when you're going to ask me this prediction, and you know what, like I'm thinking of Dumb and Dumber when that girl's talking to Jim Carrey at the bar, and he just lifts his head up and he just goes, "I don't care."
Oh my Lord. Will Brennan's over here swinging at every pitch that's ever been thrown.
Yeah.
Literally, Will Brennan is, oh my Lord. Just just don't even, I don't care if you take strike 3, just take a pitch, dude.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you though, Chad. I mean, we're just at that point with the Browns. I think somebody asked that question of like, well, how do you feel about the Browns? Are you mad? Are you apathetic? Are you, yeah, apathetic's pretty good. Disappointed is good. I'm annoyed with the Browns. I'm annoyed with the way this season has gone.
Yeah.
And I'm annoyed. And to be honest with you, the person I'm most, we can all get mad about a lot of people, but it's all Deshaun Watson for me.
Yeah.
It's not Kevin Stefanski. It's not Andrew Berry. It's not, frankly, it's not even this bum ass offensive line. It's not Amari Cooper. It's not the defense. It's not Jim Schwartz. It's not Jimmy Haslam. It's this bum ass quarterback that we trot out there every year or every week. It's this bum ass quarterback that gives us no chance to win.
Yep.
And you can say all the other things that happen that, like, oh, well, this group isn't playing well, or this group isn't playing, or the defense, man, they play well, but then they give up a ton, whatever. This bum ass quarterback has fucked everything up for the Cleveland Browns.
Yep.
And that's all it is. And to be honest with you, I'm tired of the argument. I'm tired of the argument that it's anything other than this bum ass quarterback. He's not the worst quarterback in the league. Have you looked at the stats, Chad?
Yes.
He is literally a bottom 5 quarterback since 2000 in the entire league. The people that he is up there with are Jamarcus Russell and Akili Smith. That's the group that he's up there with. Blaine Gabbert as a starter. That's the group that Deshaun Watson is in. So I'm with you. You said this before, Chad. I'm with you. I hate that I feel like this is going to cost us Kevin Stefanski. Yeah. I hate that I feel like this is going to cost us. You might not even like Kevin Stefanski. You might not even like Andrew Berry. I do like these guys. I think they're really good at what they do. This bum ass, dump ass quarterback is going to cost us a good coach, a good general manager, and he's going to cost us everything that they have done to put together a team that should be out here contending for Super Bowls. But instead, this dude who is so bad, he is the number one single most responsible person for the fact that they are the worst team in football right now.
And he has 230 million reasons not to care.
He doesn't give a shit.
No, yeah.
And there he's going to be in the offseason in Milan, Italy, posting videos of himself at a fashion show.
Right.
And then he's going to be somewhere. He's going to be in LA posting videos of himself doing something in his fancy fucking car. And you know what he's not going to be doing? Getting better at quarterback.
Yeah.
He sucks.
I fist bumped him at the David Njoku celebrity softball game this year, and I regret it. You know what?
You should have fucking broke his finger.
I take it back. I take it back. Right?
I
wish that when John, what's his face, Kelly, undercut you, you broke your knee. I wish. No, I don't wish that. I don't wish that.
No, but I do wish that this shit never happened.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't even get it. It's not about Baker Mayfield. It's not about that. I think Baker needed to move on. I don't think Baker was ever going to turn into what he is here.
No. I mean, obviously,
it's
hindsight.
About Baker. It's not about Joe Flacco. It's not about Jacoby Brissett. It's about Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, everybody's right or wrong with the benefit of hindsight, but
he sucks.
Yeah, he sucks.
And it sucks. So, anyways, let's get off the Browns because I'm disappointed.
Yep.
Oh, hey, what's the final score going to be? Browns and Bengals.
24-12.
Yeah, they're not. I think they're not scoring 20 points this year.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. Until they go to Jameis. I think Jameis can give them to 20 points.
You know, the last thing I'm going to say about the Browns, I don't think I want them to go to Jameis.
Okay.
I would love for them to bench Deshaun Watson
and go to DTR.
Sure. What you got out of this kid?
Sure.
It's not going to get worse.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, guess what DTR has done? 1 football games. DTR won football games. I'd much rather see Listen, I have nothing against Jameis. I think he's great. I think he's fun. I love him. Go play DTR. Because the guy you have out there now, he doesn't even deserve to be in the stadium.
No, he doesn't.
So,
anyways, the Bluebirds are going to be out.
I'm off it. All right, Chad. Next topic.
Asshole of the week?
Oh, we haven't even done our asshole of the week.
No, we haven't.
Gotta do that real quick. All right. Asshole of the week. Our segment where we just call somebody out for being an asshole. Chad, why don't you lead us off?
I saw this a bunch today on my drive in and back from work. I'm going to go with people who don't pull over for ambulances, fire trucks, or policemen.
Oh, damn. Yes.
If an ambulance, fire truck, or a police officer has their lights on, sirens blaring, and they're going at a high rate of speed, no matter where they are, chances are they need to get somewhere more important than wherever you're going.
Correct.
Okay? Someone needs help. Get the fuck out of the way. Pull over. All right, pull over. Wherever they're going, wherever they need to go, 10 times more important, 100 times more important than where you need to go. Move.
Yeah, that's a great one. Chad, I'm going to take a page out of your book because you've done some like political sign people thing.
Oh, yeah. I fucking hate those people too.
I'm going to go into social media world and be political social media meme posters. You know who I'm talking about?
Social media what?
Like political meme posters online.
No.
You don't know what I'm saying?
No, because I try to avoid anything politics as much as I can.
Dude, you're on Facebook all the time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, but I'm
talking about the people that put up every day. You'll log onto Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and they don't post something like well thought out about their political opinions.
Oh, it's just a meme, like a gotcha meme.
Yeah, it's just a meme, and they always. I'm talking about the people that put a comment that it'll say like exactly.
Yeah,
period.
Right.
And then it'll be a political meme, and you're like,
yeah,
that isn't what anything is.
Yeah,
like, that meme was drawn up by somebody to intentionally like get you to think a certain way.
Right.
And you're sitting there like, exactly.
Right.
Fuck off. Put your politics away. Jesus, just vote. Listen, vote in the election. Have your say, and then put the shit away.
Yeah.
Put the shit away. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not going to put out like a well thought out, like, hey, I'm educated on this topic and I want to say something. If you're not going to do that, if you're just going to put up memes that were designed by somebody that's trying to like put out propaganda, put that shit away. Go away.
Completely agree.
Total assholes.
Yeah.
My entire I don't go on Facebook much because Jesus Christ, it's a cesspool. But every time I do,
So is Twitter.
every time I
All
do,
social media.
every time I do, I've been saying this for years, and then it's just some meme that is like the most unfounded shit you've ever seen, and you're like, Christ, you what a fucking asshole. So that's my asshole of the week. All right, Chad, let's move on to a topic that I definitely want to hit on tonight.
Okay.
And it didn't turn out in their favor, but Chad, the Columbus Blue Jackets home opener was tonight.
Yeah.
First game in Columbus since obviously the tragedy of them losing their best player and their one of their leaders, and really just a guy that meant so much to their organization. Johnny Gaudreau, his brother Matthew. They've played a couple games on the road. They've looked pretty good, to be honest. They played Minnesota in the opener, and they looked pretty good. Then they went and beat Colorado in Colorado, like a huge win for them.
Yeah.
They come home tonight. First game in Columbus. They're taking on the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. And our buddy, Doug Plagans, the voice of the Panthers, at the game. Chad, just your thoughts on what you saw down there tonight and what you expected to see, and just kind of the emotional night at Nationwide Arena in Columbus.
I mean, everything about it was beautiful. It was just absolutely beautiful. Between the tribute video, I mean, it just basically showed Johnny and just a documentary of his life from Pee Wee hockey on up, you know, and showing like the picture was of his dad having him on the ice at like 2 or 3 days old. He was just the guy was born to be a hockey player, literally bred from the day he came out of the womb to be a hockey player. And just talking about his family, and then you know you saw videos of and this one really got me. You see videos of the Gaudreau family at the memorial that they set up in Nationwide, and then you see Noah, his little daughter, kissing his picture. That was tough.
Yeah.
And then saving a spot for him on the face-off with a 13-second moment of silence or delay or whatever, and it was everything about it was beautiful, man. Nationwide was rocking.
And then the game, and then Chad, how about? Listen, I know they lost. They wound up losing 3-2. Again, against the Stanley Cup champions. They put up a hell of a fight.
Well, it's 4-3. 4-3.
Oh, I'm sorry, 4-3. Sorry. They put up a hell of a fight against the Florida Panthers. But how about Sean Monahan getting his first goal as a Blue Jacket?
And then pointing to the banner, pointing to Johnny's banner.
I mean, this is a guy that they brought Sean Monahan in to play with Johnny.
Yeah.
They brought him in to kind of unlock the potential of Johnny, because he's a guy that knows how to play with Johnny Gaudreau, and because they were just such good friends.
Yeah, and the closest person to him.
It's so close when they were in Calgary, and they bring Monahan in, and Monahan gets a goal on this night, and a night where they put the banner up for Johnny. Monahan scores the goal, and as his teammates surround him, he is just standing in the middle and pointing. Oh, well, that might be the end of the Guardians game.
Oh, boy.
Aaron Judge just went yard. Made it 6-2 in the bottom of the 7th.
Whoops. All right.
Hey, listen, we'll talk about that in a minute. But Monahan...
Mike, I hate his stupid face.
Standing in a crowd of Blue Jackets pointing at the banner.
Right.
What a moment. What a moment.
What a moment. And, you know, as far as the game's concerned, you know, it's like, this is what we talked about. I mean, the Jackets were going to play inspired this year. The Jackets were going to be feisty this year. The Jackets were going to play with an extra chip on their shoulder. And like, you know, like tonight was a game that you don't typically see from the Jackets. Well, you haven't typically seen from the Jackets over the last couple of years, right? The Jackets were the aggressor tonight. The Jackets were the ones attacking tonight. The Jackets were the ones playing good defense tonight, right? The Panthers only got 22 shots on goal. And the Jackets put 38 on net on Spencer Knight. Like that's something That's a huge discrepancy that you just never saw. That you just never see. You just haven't seen the last few years. Yes, it turned into a loss, but the same thing happened in Colorado, right? In a win, and the Jackets are being aggressive this year. The style that they're playing is it fits their skill set perfectly, and I think this is going to be a fun year to watch the Jackets. Again, I don't know how many wins that's going to translate into, but you know what? Every night in and night out, it's going to be a hockey team to at least be able to turn on and not be disappointed.
Yep. Hey, I do want to go back to the Guardians for a minute. I want to say this. Because even if the Guardians lose this game, this series isn't over. You're coming back to Cleveland.
For 3
and
straight.
you can turn this thing around in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I will say this. If the Guardians are going to lose to the Yankees the way they did in game 1, where it was multiple wild pitches, which really could have been pass balls because Bo Naylor should have stopped a couple of those. If you're going to lose to the Yankees because Brian Rocchio drops a ball like he did in the first inning of this game,
right?
That's unacceptable.
Right.
I will tell you this, though. If you're going to lose to the Yankees because Aaron Judge is hitting bombs and Anthony Rizzo's hitting bombs and Giancarlo Stanton's hitting bombs and Juan Soto's hitting bombs, okay. Like, listen, I don't want to make excuses or whatever, but if the Yankees are going to beat you based on what they do best, okay. If it's going to be the best power hitter in baseball,
right,
that's hitting home runs, okay.
Right.
Like those are going to be the games that I can, like, at the end of this, if they do not beat the Yankees to move on to the World Series, I'm going to, like, as long as you make the Yankees do what they do best and that's how they beat you, I'm going to be sad that the season's over.
Sure.
But okay. We just can't be giving them games.
Sure. Right.
You started this game in the hole because you gave them that first inning.
Right.
No more of that shit.
Right. Nope.
Come back to Cleveland. You win game 3 in this series, you're right back in it. So I'm not going to go crazy. Again, there's still a couple innings left, so who knows? Maybe we score 4 runs and push this thing on.
Right.
But, like, come back to Cleveland, get your shit together, stop giving the Yankees free runs, win game 3, and you're right back in it. And if the Yankees are going to beat you with their best players doing their best things, okay, I can accept that. We've got to clean the other shit up.
Yep, 100%.
Got to clean the other shit up. Okay. So, Chad, I'm with you, man. I love the way the Blue Jackets have started this season. I think we're in for a fun year. I don't know if we're in for a ton of wins for Columbus, but I think we're in for a fun year. And again, an incredibly emotional night. If you're a Blue Jackets fan and you weren't able to get down to the game tonight, look at some of the videos from tonight's event down there for opening night in Columbus, because it was awesome to watch. It was awesome to watch. Chad, real quick before we get out of here for this show, one more big event happened here in our area, and I just want to hear your take on it because we haven't talked about it at all. But the Ohio State Buckeyes go out to Oregon, and they lose to the Oregon Ducks in a huge matchup. And Ohio State loses their first game of the season. Oregon with their biggest win, their big Big Ten win that they get here. Give me your thoughts on the way that whole thing went down, because I think Ohio State played really well offensively for the majority of that game.
Yeah.
Defensively, I think they were incredibly disappointing. Incredibly disappointing. Oregon sliced through them like it was nothing.
What are your thoughts on Denzel Burke? Denzel Burke didn't even get off the bus. It seems like got beat by 2 different receivers
over and over and over again.
Yeah, it was Ohio State's offensively. I agree with you. I think they played pretty well. This was an Oregon defense. That came in. They could barely stop the run, and they were missing one of their best defensive players in Justin Birch. Yeah, so I think for the most part they played pretty well offensively, but yeah, defensively you couldn't get a stop. You could not get a stop. Dylan Gabriel was in his bag. I mean, he was eluding pressure. He was delivering the football on a dime to his receivers. I mean, and then his receivers they were cooking that secondary. They were cooking that secondary. You thought you might have had a little reprieve when Holden spit in the face of, what was it, Igbinosin?
Yep.
You thought you might have had a little reprieve, but no. Dylan Gabriel, it was just the next man up, and Dylan Gabriel just continued to slice and dice you. So, I mean, it's going to be a lot of back to the drawing board here for the Buckeyes, because when you face elite opponents like that, when it's and you continue to fail against top 5 opponents like that, something's amiss. Something. It's just they play pretty well. I don't want to say they just continuously get their ass kicked, but it seems like when it comes down to crunch time in big games, they never can just get over that hill. They can never just make the right decision, make that extra play to win in this Ryan Day era.
Chad, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good your offense looks. I mean, again, their offense looked good most of the night, and I know the offense is going to get, and Will Howard rightfully so, because what the fuck was that?
Sure.
At the end of the game,
right?
Rightfully so. The offense is going to get reamed for the end of the game. Offense was really good all game.
Right.
They scored a lot of points.
Right.
The defense was atrocious.
No, it was bad.
You couldn't get to Dylan Gabriel. You couldn't make any plays. Your pass rush is non-existent.
Yeah.
And then your defensive backs are just giving up open play after open play. It doesn't matter whether it's Oregon or Alabama or Texas or whatever. I'm sorry, but that Ohio State team we watched against Oregon is going to get smashed by any of the top teams.
No.
They might be in the game. They might be able to stay in the game because there's just so much good talent on the team. But, like, that defense is never going to allow you to win one of those big games.
No, and I agree. And then I thought it was kind of funny when you saw Ryan Day is quoted in the media. He's saying, like, it's not all about sacks sometimes. It's about stopping the run. First stopping the run, and then yes, it might be about stopping the run, but you need a pass rush, Ryan. I'm sorry, you need a pass rush to be successful on defense.
I don't understand the thought process there.
Yeah. And I think that was just him making an excuse for not having very high sack numbers. They just can't get to the quarterback.
Listen, this Ohio State team has the talent on it to beat anybody and everybody.
Right.
But, like, if they can't get it together, if this defense, it's Swiss cheese. That was Swiss cheese defense. It was hole after hole after hole.
Right.
Every time Ohio State would go down and score a big touchdown, they would just instantly let Oregon respond.
Right.
Every single fucking time.
Right.
This Ohio State team isn't going to win shit.
Right.
If that's how they play.
Right.
There's an identity crisis in Ohio State. Because you're always going to get top tier level players. You're always going to have the talent to compete with anybody at Ohio State. But you have an identity crisis. You don't know what kind of team you want to be. And unfortunately, under Ryan Day and his leadership, you've never had an identity.
Well, offensively, I think they figured it out this year, because I think that offensive line is playing a lot more physical this year, and I think they're playing a lot more downhill. But defensively, I couldn't agree more. They're just not an attacking defense, and they got to figure out some way to be that way, to turn that around. Because all of the top teams, you look at the Georgias of the world, you look at the Alabamas of the world, you look at, at least of the years past, right? They are attacking aggressive defenses.
Yes.
And they come up and they'll knock you in the mouth. The Ohio State just doesn't do that. They just don't.
Nope. And it's going to be a problem. And listen, hopefully Ryan Day and his coaching staff have made it clear to these kids that, listen, this loss is not the end of the world. 12 teams are making it into that postseason.
Right.
And Ohio State still has an easy fast track to that postseason.
Right.
If they just win the rest of their games, they're going to make it into the postseason.
And they'll probably see Oregon again.
And they should see Oregon again.
Yeah.
But, like, you can't. I don't want to make it out to be. Listen, going to Oregon and winning is hard.
Yes.
Going to Oregon and winning is a difficult situation.
Yeah.
But, like, they have to play better than that if they expect to get where they're going to get.
No, yeah, they do. 100%.
So I just wanted to hit on it real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
But listen, 10:34, Chad. We got the Guardians up in the top of the 8th inning. Andres Jimenez is up. We'll see if they're down 4. It's 6-2. We'll see if they can come back, but we're going to let you guys watch it on your own. We're going to do our cheers of the week, and then we're going to get out of here. So I'll lead us off with the cheer of the week because I already told you what it was going to be. I don't know if you saw this, Chad, or I don't know if anybody else saw this, but USC does this thing where they allow any fan in the stadium. There's no rules to it. Any fan in the stadium can pay like, I don't know, it was like $1,500 or something, and they can run out on the field with the USC Trojans. So there was a guy that was out at the game, massive Penn State fan, and he decided to pay his $1,500, decked out in all Penn State gear. And as the USC Trojans football team is making their way out onto the field,
Yeah.
a Penn State fan leads them out onto the field. It is one of the most hilarious things I have watched. One of the, like, apparently USC did not think this through. And here's this Penn State fan just leading the team out onto the field. It was a spectacular moment by this fan from Penn State, and I wanted to give him a shout out. So
nice.
If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Really funny, but that's my cheer of the week.
Yeah.
Chad, what about you?
My cheers goes to, and I tweeted it out earlier this week, but I just got to give them a cheers on the show, is the Pardon My Take guys. I thought it was just hilarious. And at one point in the show, they were talking about the Browns. They were talking about how bad they are. They were talking about Deshaun Watson and yada, yada, yada. And it was like, and they were like, thank God there's beer in Cleveland. And then PFT goes,
oh, yes.
And PFT goes, imagine going to a Browns game sober. And Big Cat goes, well, that just sounds like Guantanamo.
I tweeted the same thing, Chad. I was dying laughing.
Because I just couldn't stop laughing at that.
Oh, yeah. He goes, oh, yeah, that's just Guantanamo, I think.
It's just Guantanamo. Like, oh. I think you're damn right it is.
I was out mowing the lawn, listening to it on my headphones, and I laughed so loud that I'm pretty sure my whole neighborhood heard me.
Yeah.
Fucking Brian Rocchio with another hit. This dude is. I love this guy right now.
A big hit.
They're still down 6-2, and they need to do something. But, yeah, shout out to that one. That's a great cheers. Listen, that's going to do it for us. Episode 234 in the books. We will be back next Tuesday. Hopefully, we're still talking about the Guardians. If not, we will celebrate what has been a great season, because I'm not going to get negative on this Guardians team. The Browns have given us enough to get negative about. We'll talk next week about the Browns and the Bengals. We'll talk about Ohio State and Nebraska. That's a big game coming up. We'll talk about the Guardians and how this series goes and so much more. So that's going to do it for us tonight. Shout out to all of you that joined us, man. We had like almost 1,000 people in here all night long. So shout out to you guys that joined us. It has been a blast. Shout out to those of you that are going to check us out later. Again, if you can't watch us live, we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Twitch. You can always go back and watch or listen to our previous episodes. So make sure you do that. Make sure you get over to The Garage Beers on all the socials and follow us. And make sure you are following everything that's going on with the OBR, your best place for Cleveland Browns coverage. This has been episode number 234 of Garage Beers. For Joey Whalen, who wasn't here, but go follow him anyways at Garage Beers Joe. For Chad Meyer at Garage Beers Chad, I am Michael Keefe at Garage Beers Mike. We will see you next week for episode 235. Until then, cheers, and go Guards as long as they're still alive. Cheers, everybody.